You are listening to a Heartifact Network podcast. Find us at heartifactstudios.com.au.
Welcome back to Australia Mania. It's the only wrestling podcast called Australia Mania. I'm your host, Ricki, as always, joined by David Yang.
What up?
No Tomo in the building tonight.
Yeah, got called in work.
Tough
fuckface.
Tough shit.
You know what that means?
What?
We can streamline this podcast. We're not going to waste any time. We're going to cut out all the fluff.
Okay.
I've got the run sheet right in front of me.
Uh-huh.
If there's anything to do with Impact, it's immediately gone.
Yep.
Here's the only reason we discussed Impact News.
Did he write Impact News on
I got no
run sheet?
idea, but what I'm saying is
Check the
if there is Impact News, we're not talking about it.
Okay. I can live
He's
with
got
that.
APW news here.
Uh-huh.
He's got local news.
Uh-huh.
Independent news. Yep, he's got... All right. Cutting it out. Segment 5.
It's gone.
Gone.
Segment 5 is gone.
Segment 5's gone.
No
All right.
bueno.
Do we want to jump right into news?
Sure, let's do it.
Because he's written it all out.
You've got the news.
Yeah,
You've got the news
yeah.
reins.
I like this. Well,
Can you do your best
this
Tomo
is what
impression?
I'm thinking. We'll pound through the news,
All
right?
Yep.
And then we'll just go into banter.
Just pound it out.
We'll just pound through the news and we'll go right into banter. I'm seeing AEW. I'm going to skip that news.
No, what is it? Is it
Right.
that the
Well, I
boss?
guess we'll start with that. Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson have officially taken off every house show going from here on out.
I did hear that.
They'll be looking to stay off TV until their contracts expire later this year.
Mm-hmm.
Gallows and Anderson are in a contractual disagreement with WWE. We knew that. I think we touched on it last week.
Yep.
They're looking to leave the promotion once their current deals expire. Michael speculates that they're going to sign with AEW and reunite with their old mates, the Bucks and Kenny Omega.
It would make sense.
Makes sense, but that's all we're going to talk about from AEW.
But Anderson came out and said, "Don't believe everything you read on the internet this week."
I did. I saw that as well. Oh, yep. And he put a post up on Instagram. And he's just like, look, just having a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Just having a bit of fun.
I don't know. It's an interesting development. We'll keep an eye on it.
I think with the AJ signing, we'll be okay.
Yeah, he did sign. So,
AJ re-signed.
Yeah.
Interesting way of announcing it. You see how he announced it?
yeah, it was very like.
Here's a photo of my new dog. Oh, by the way,
I've signed
re-signed a contract.
Yeah, isn't he cute? I think that's the best way to go about it.
I do as well. I think it's just like,
taking-
yeah, don't talk about my contractual situation.
It's taking the power away from the news sites that really
Yeah.
like to get the clicky articles about who's signing, who isn't signing, blah blah blah. And he's just sort of been like, "Here's my dog. I'm re-signing. Isn't he cute?"
Yeah.
That's the way to do
It's
it.
nonchalant. It's just, there it is. I've
Yeah.
signed. Good.
Stop
Whatever.
talking about it now.
Yeah, shut
It's
the fuck
over.
up, right?
Yeah.
Like, my contract isn't of any of your concern. Fair.
No.
My bad. Oh.
What else we got?
Been talks. WWE is going to change their minds about Kurt Angle's farewell match.
Please God.
Shoot.
Please
Hold
God.
on. We'll touch on to that after this news segment.
Okay.
Corbin got X-Pac light heat. I can't believe Michael wrote this. You know Michael wrote this. After being announced as Angle's final opponent for WrestleMania, WWE could still change their minds, and the two stars are being considered as Baron's replacements are Shelton Benjamin
That'd be a good one.
and John Cena. We will touch on Raw after this news segment.
Yeah.
I do, just a precursor to that discussion, I like Angle vs. Corbin. I like it.
From a storyline perspective, it makes the most sense.
I think as a wrestling perspective, it makes sense too.
Mm-hmm.
What's the point?
But
We'll get annoyed.
But for a big WrestleMania moment, it doesn't make that much sense.
But in my eyes... Oh, okay, we'll touch on that after we do this.
All right. Keep going. Pound through the news.
In other news, Adam Rose has officially announced his retirement from full-time competition. Adam Rose,
who?
The
Who?
guy who...
Who?
I think it was Summer Rae. Not Summer Rae, that's an Instagram model. No.
No, that's Soma Ray. You're thinking it's Summer Ray?
Oh, so I am thinking Summer Rae.
yeah, Summer Ray.
Oh, his name is Soma.
Soma Ray, yeah.
I don't know.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, she's hot. He did the dance gimmick. That's all I know.
I know who you're talking about. I'm just fucking with you. 'cause, like,
Rose got fired from
'cause
WWE after
who?
personal and domestic issues derailed his time.
That's right.
He
got done for, like,
retired
Adderall or
prematurely
some
in
shit, didn't he?
2017, but 6 months later returned to active competition. But yeah, he announced his retirement over the weekend. I guess that's a bit of news.
Yep.
He also had the AJ news is right there. Says, yep, signed.
Cool.
Just what we talked on.
Good on him.
Contract was actually set to expire just after WrestleMania 35. But he is instead re-signed and will be joining their European tour coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently for Post-Mania, this is what Michael has speculated, apparently talks are they're going to go with Joe versus AJ in the US scene. So Joe Mysterio was announced today for the WrestleMania card. But now we're going to get Joe AJ for the US title. I like it. I like it a lot.
But we had it for the WWE title like 6 times.
I know.
Do we need it again?
But I think without that fanfare, this could still. I think it
So
benefits from the lack of fanfare.
So
that
you're
comes
saying
with
we're
the WWE
probably
title.
going to get a better match for the US title than for the WWE title.
Yeah, that's what I'm coming because I think it's gonna fall.
They'll probably have a bit more freedom.
More
to do what they
freedom,
want.
and I think expectations will be far better managed. Because I think the WWE title obviously adds a layer of expectation when it comes to just anyone, right? Just anyone, right? And this obviously will elevate the US scene. AJ's not adverse to doing mid-card stuff, and I like that about him.
I think he's the company guy who was never with the company. You know what I mean? Like he's come in and he's been like, I'm going to do everything I can to do my best and leave my mark on this company while I'm here for probably for the short time relatively that he'll be there. I expect this contract was probably about a 2-year at most.
Yeah,
and then he's done.
This one,
because
he's 41. He's 41, 42.
He has said that he doesn't want to wrestle forever.
He
wants, I'm going to say that if he used AEW as any sort of leverage, he probably got a couple of extra 100,000 added to this contract just to be like, this is just more insurance for me when I'm done.
Yeah.
He's going to live off appearances and signings and probably, I would hazard a guess, AJ Styles would be a really, really good trainer for NXT.
Yeah,
especially if you wanted.
You nailed it on the head when you said he's a company guy that was never with the company.
Yeah.
Because now I look at him, I honestly can't see that AJ Styles was the indie guy.
Going back to like looking at Bullet Club era AJ Styles in New Japan, it's apples and oranges, man. It's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's insane how much, because you always look at a guy, and you go, all right, he's in WWE, but he's not really WWE guy. Like Finn to me. And I love using Finn as an example. But Finn, to me, whilst I do believe he's well and truly ingratiated into the WWE system, he could move on, right? Like, it'd be easy, and it'd be easy for me to see him back in New Japan.
I would love to see him back in New Japan in the current junior scene. He would kill it. He would be fucking...
But I think he's the cusp, right? I think he's the one... Like, he's much akin to AJ now, but just not AJ in the sense that... You know, I don't look at AJ anymore and I go, you were that guy for 15 years who avoided WWE and was the king of the indies. Like,
and it kind of...
When you thought of WWE and then you think, okay, who's outside WWE? AJ Styles topped the list every single time.
Yeah.
But now I look at him and I go, I can't see you outside WWE.
Yeah.
Because you are a product of WWE, in my opinion.
He does feel like it. This is the WWE kind of, not watered down, but it is the WWE AJ Styles. And I was like saying with him possibly being a trainer in NXT, his family is from Atlanta. Atlanta's just one state up from Florida. Florida's just there if they want to uproot and move the family to Florida. Or even if he just flies in every week, it'd be like an hour flight. Really wouldn't take that much time out of his, like spending time with his family on a more regular basis.
He's definitely someone I see now doing the rest of his... There's obviously the in-ring career, and then there's the rest of his career where it comes to, like what you said, training and stuff. Yeah. He's firmly a WWE product now. He will finish his in-ring competition or in-ring career, let's say at the end of this contract. I firmly believe so as well. He's 41. He'll be retiring at 43, at 44.
And he's not the kind of guy that's going to let his in-ring quality dip that much before saying goodbye.
Yeah.
He's going to want to go
Michaels.
out.
He's Shawn Michaels.
The first time round. We don't talk about Shawn Michaels last year. But yeah, he's going to go out while he's still one of the best to ever do it. He's not going to want to go out when people are saying it is the Kurt Angle situation right now where we're just like, yay, Kurt's back, it's great, but you look at him in the ring and it's a bit sad.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that, but like he was rusty as hell this week against...
perfect segue.
All right,
news is done. Let's jump right into Raw. You say that and you're 100% right. But that also... And it's no stiff to Angle, but...
No, it's not.
He
clearly
his
loves
announcement of retirement was lackluster.
Yeah.
And I think with the card that we have at hand, it doesn't... think of all the other matches of retirements that have happened at Mania.
It needs to be Cena. It makes so much sense.
It makes sense. But at the same time, had it been Cena, I still don't think it would be something that it wouldn't main event. Right?
No. I'm not saying okay.
It wouldn't fall. It would fall to the wayside of other stories.
We are assuming at this point we have like 17 matches on the Mania card. So you throw 3 to 4 of them on the pre-show.
Yeah,
we're assuming a 3-hour pre-show.
Oh, dude, the pre-show is gonna be fucking stupid.
Possibly a 5-hour main card, right?
That's nuts, man.
I know. Last year was
nuts.
Last year was like 4.5.
Just do a 2-day Mania.
They're thinking about it.
I know.
Do not give them ideas because they will 100% do it. Do you really want a 2-day Mania?
I mean, as a fan, do you not want a 2-day Mania?
I mean, not really.
If it cost the same amount,
yeah.
Oh, but it fucking wouldn't.
But because they've got to rent the stadium twice.
Yeah, exactly. It fucking costs double.
So anyway, I feel that a Baron Corbin match would get lost in that really shitty second hour where I know.
Yep.
That first hour is going to be.
But I think a Cena match wouldn't elevate it much more higher than that.
It would be fourth hour. It would be a fourth hour match. Like coming into that, like the main event's going to be either Becky and Charlotte.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying personally, it just feels lackluster. Of all the things, especially when it comes to all the things on Raw.
Even if it's Cena, does it
all
feel
the things
lackluster?
on Raw.
With Cena, it feels way bigger. It feels way bigger. It feels
way bigger. I'm not saying it doesn't feel way bigger. It does feel way bigger. No shit, it feels way bigger. I just still think if you're juggling, I get what you're saying. Obviously, everyone wants it to be Cena, right? But in terms of what it is as a retirement match, like last match at WrestleMania kind of a deal, you're juggling, all right, and with everything else that's on the card, I've already got buys, right? Like, I'm not trying to get more buys with having John Cena versus Kurt Angle, in my opinion. You've sold it on this Rousey feud. You've sold it on the build with Kofi Kingston. You've sold it with Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar, right? Your top 3 marquee matches are selling the card as is. Something like Cena I'm not saying Cena shouldn't be on the card, but if I'm sitting back and going, all right, I'm juggling that, rather than, and on the other hand, I've got doing right by the business, where I give this rub to Corbin. Corbin's going to be on Raw the next night, and Corbin's going to be on Raw for the next foreseeable years. A pinfall victory over Kurt Angle in his retirement match. You know, the marks sit there and go, I hate this match because what the fuck, why, it should have been. But at the same time, we exist in the world of pro wrestling. That doesn't mean, Corbin's sitting there going, perfect, I've done nothing but generate heat. Just because they announced someone else. They didn't announce that guy as the person. So I'm going to come in on Raw next week and be like, y'all fucking mad that it wasn't John Cena, that he picked me, right? That I had done my job to piss this man off just enough that he wants to fight me in his final match? Well, then I'm going to fucking end his career. Like, it's such a simple storyline. And it also does right by the business. That if it's time-honored tradition. How do you adverse Cena? We discussed it last week. How do you adverse Cena? Who lies down? Who lies down? Does Kurt do right by the business and lie down in his final match? But then Cena gets the rub. Like, I get it. It finishes off that storyline, quote-unquote storyline, but there wasn't really much of a storyline there to begin with anyway. It was just Cena's first match, right? Like, they didn't have much of a story arc continuing from that point, and if they did, it finished. But this Corbin Angle storyline has been building for the past year, right? And it makes sense for this to be Kurt's final curtain call match. And it makes far more sense in terms of the industry moving forward. Because Corbin will walk out of this, in my opinion, monster heel. Yeah. As possibly the biggest heel with Drew McIntyre on Raw.
Yeah. Look,
because they didn't announce someone else to be Kurt's opponent.
Look, I agree. Like I said, from a storyline perspective, it makes the most sense. I'm just saying from like a big spectacle WrestleMania moment.
Yeah, but I think
it is lackluster.
Yeah, I agree.
It feels lackluster.
But I think I think it just falls to the wayside. Like something like that, had it been Cena, you're right.
I just feel this is going to be.
But I think it would still inevitably fall behind. If there is a Taker match, that would go above it. There's Brock match, which is obviously going to go above it. There's the Rousey match, which is going to go above it. Then there's the WWE title match, will go above it as well.
Even arguably, I would
Triple H and Batista would probably go above it as well. Because Batista's also retiring.
I know.
And that's a bigger retirement.
I would just put the AJ Randy one above it as well. That's 2 former world champions.
Yeah. You've got 6
13-time world
stories
champion.
that are going above a retirement match.
Yeah.
If I'm the company, I've got that one big payoff with John Cena that's probably going to be forgotten anyway. Well, not forgotten, but like in terms of everything else about that WrestleMania, it won't be the first thing that comes to my mind.
There's going to be if everything goes the way that the fans want, there is going to be a glut of feel-good moments on this WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And is that necessarily a good thing?
I don't think so. And
there's got to be peaks and valleys.
Yep.
So maybe having Corbin win and just having us pissed off.
Yeah.
And we take that energy through next night on Raw.
Because this is how it's like. I don't know how many people actually know it, but that's how they design cards.
Yeah,
it's how they designed
to be up and down. You know what I mean?
And it's why, like, I know I stiffed the shit out of the fact that Undertaker, when he lost the streak, was the third
Third
last match.
I keep telling you, it was perfectly placed.
Because it was, and I always come back and tell myself, no, because of the placement of the card, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like...
You had that, a piss break match, and then...
you had that, and then you had a match to, like, distill the taste of,
and
like,
everyone went home happy. That's the thing, like, watching that WrestleMania 30, you get swept up in the final, like, sort of scenes, and then it takes a bit for you to remember, like, oh, fuck, Taker lost on this WrestleMania. Like,
but to me, that is the exception to the rule. That can happen to someone like Kurt, where you're like, oh, that was Kurt's final WrestleMania. Fuck, I forgot he was on that card. It shouldn't happen to Taker's streak.
No, I know.
Like, that's all I'm getting at with that opinion. Everything else, it's 100% right. I agree with the logic of it. You know, you placement of the card.
Imagine if that WrestleMania had a finish with Randy versus Batista in a one-on-one match after Taker had lost the streak.
Yeah,
Can you imagine?
It was designed that way.
Can you imagine?
It was Daniel Bryan, no matter what, was going to be in that main event. It's the same thing that we're looking at now with Kofi.
Can you imagine?
No matter what, Kofi's going to be in that match.
I'm still trying to work out how they're going to get him into the match now. Like, what are they going to do?
Yeah, we were discussing it before we came into the studio.
It has been, as you said, a bit overbooked.
It's going to be a product of overbooking. I think we didn't touch on it last week, but I think now we can definitely touch on it. I think, actually, it's been known. The Rousey, Becky, Charlotte match, that's a product of overbooking. When we first caught wind of that match, it was hype. It was main event worthy, and we knew it was going to be. And we had accepted it because we'd grown so accustomed and followed in footsteps with Becky's storyline, right, till it got to that point, and then they threw Charlotte into it. Now, I'm not saying the initial point of throwing Charlotte into it was a bad idea, but it should have been, okay, do it for about a couple of weeks, and then Charlotte dips because of X reason. The joke has gone too far, and it has been thoroughly overbooked to a point where it's become saturated that these three are intertwined in this convoluted storyline about, I don't understand what Charlotte's point in the story is, right? Ronda's moved into a different story arc that supersedes
Charlotte is just continuing in her character vein of being put into this place of everything you want is given to you.
Agreed. Yeah. But this is what I'm getting. I think that is so one-dimensional. And then you're looking at, and then on the juxtaposition, we're looking at Ronda's side of the story now. And this is where it gets so
breaking kayfabe.
Exactly.
She released a shirt that literally says "break kayfabe" on it.
You don't need to do that for this match. None of this story. This is why I'm saying it's overbooked. None of the additional story arcs that they have added on top of Ronda Rousey's character leading into this match were necessary for this match.
No.
Right? You didn't need Rousey to come out there and be this bitch-ass heel that fucking hates the company and hates everything about the industry, and then her husband now is being brought into the storyline for some reason. Right?
Did he work punch that bloke? Because it looks stiff.
Oh, it looks stiff. It looks stiff.
I don't trust Travis Brown to work punch a guy.
I don't trust any MMA guy.
Because he's Travis Brown.
Yeah.
Like, he's a fucking fighter, man. Like,
unnecessary. Completely unnecessary.
Okay,
I'm not saying a bad story. It's just unnecessary to what the story already was.
Do you know what was necessary to this story? Becky winning the Rumble, calling out Ronda accepting, and then you just wait till WrestleMania happens. That's it. Because
I think when we say just wait,
I can imagine the promo package for that match. You just replay Becky coming out, beating up Ronda, beating up most of the Raw locker room, getting her face bloodied, calling out Ronda. They do the sort of the what happened at TLC? TLC with Oscar winning the title, and then Becky looking for retribution. That is the entire promo package. That's it. It's sold as a story. Boom. It's easy. We see, fucking Becky up here, losing, get to Rumble. She starts winning again, and then that's it. And you have these two huge personalities colliding on a fucking collision course. But now you have, you're right, Rousey breaking kayfabe. You have fucking Charlotte being inserted out of fucking nowhere. You have Becky being arrested and then taken out of the match, put back in the match, taken out of the match, earning her spot back with Ronda DQing her to get her back into the match to ensure that it is going to be a triple threat. And it's just like, what they've completely overblown this story. And I was tweeting the other day about everyone's like, well, what's going to happen with Oscar? I'm like, the simplest thing in the world could have happened with Oscar. The night after the Rumble, she comes out, says no one is ready for Oscar. It's the one thing in English she can say really, really well. I'm sorry, but
no, it's so true.
Yeah, exactly.
So true.
But she can say it, and it's effective, and the crowd knows exactly what happens after she says that. Is someone comes down to the ring and says, "I am ready for Oscar." Boom. Charlotte's music hits. She comes down and says, I was ready for you last year. This time the belt's on the other person, but I need to redeem myself. I need to prove to you that I'm still ready for you and I can still beat you at WrestleMania. Put the belt on the line. Boom. There's your story. Simple. Easy. It's done.
Yep. And now we don't have an Asuka story.
You have two stories with massive investment because of the stories that have been told the year previous. You have Rousey and Becky going back and forth on social media, going back and forth in the ring, and you have a repeat of last year's, and let's face it, a really, really good match.
There's nothing wrong with a repeat.
No, there isn't.
Nothing wrong with it.
And we've seen it before.
We've seen Cena vs. Rock. I've seen Rock vs. Austin.
Rock v. Austin at 17.
I've seen Triple H vs. Undertaker 4 times.
Can you remember anything about Rock v. Austin at 15? Their first meeting? No, but you can remember pretty much everything about Rock Austin at 17, the second time they went around.
Yeah,
because it was the heel turn. And it was an amazing match. That's the thing. You have this second one. You have the chance to do a repeat, do it right, and do it without it being forced.
Yeah,
because you know that like the minute that Rock pinned Cena at 28, they were doing it again at 29. That was the plan.
Yeah.
In their minds, they're just like, this is money, we're doing it again.
No,
but this time, it's like the story has crafted itself perfectly where that you have taken Becky out of the title picture, put her on Raw, and then these two, Asuka and Charlotte, have just naturally going to collide again.
Yeah.
And it's natural, and it just makes sense.
I would have loved,
And now what? She's going to fight Lacey Evans, who keeps walking out and interrupting matches every night?
It's so unfortunate. It's so unfortunate.
God forbid she fights Lana or fucking... Carmella, like, no stiff to them, but that is not a WrestleMania match.
Give her a handicap match, put her against Sonya and Mandy, and just have her squash them. That's all I can think about for that match right now.
I know. It's crazy. We're 2 weeks away.
But just before we got into that conversation, we segued with Kofi. Kofi is leading into overbooking.
Yeah.
And, obviously, SmackDown was on earlier today.
This week.
Fresh.
This week should have been the last week where we have questions.
This week should have been the end of it, and we should have gone, all right, now we have 2 weeks where we know it's Kofi and Bryan.
Yep.
Let them come out and let them have just war of words, right? Let Kofi come out and talk about the 11 years thing, right? Let Daniel Bryan come out and be like, look, you're not me, right? I've done your arc.
You're a B+ player.
You're a B+ player.
I love that.
I would have loved for Daniel Bryan to just straight up say to Kofi, you're not Daniel Bryan. Like, don't try and don't follow my story. Like, you're not going to be as successful as I am. Like, that would be perfect heat.
Yep.
Right? Because everyone knows it. Everyone knows this Kofi storyline is literally just the Daniel Bryan arc.
Yep.
Right? And if you don't know it, you're an idiot. You don't know wrestling.
I did say to you earlier that the perfect conclusion to the Daniel Bryan arc would be Kofi in a match at WrestleMania to earn his spot. And I said, without Triple H in the picture, the next logical opponent is Vince McMahon.
Have him take on Vince at the start of the show.
Vince McMahon versus Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston wins, because of course he fucking does, and he goes into the match at the end of the night.
And then,
but at this point,
now you've just completed the Daniel Bryan arc.
Yes, exactly. But
after today,
if you really want to look at this from a kayfabe perspective of like they should know what they're doing by now. Who is Daniel Bryan's opponent if it's not Kofi Kingston? They've set up nobody.
Exactly.
They've set up no other person.
They've known it's going to be Kofi Kingston
for a while.
And so that's why it's questionable why we're sitting here and going,
like, has it got
did he really need to lose the gauntlet match? Could we not have just had him win it and then just given us 2 weeks worth of we know, man, we know.
Has it actually gotten to a point where they are just going to let Daniel Bryan sit out WrestleMania? The WWE champion doesn't have an opponent for WrestleMania. They're just going to let him sit on the fucking sidelines and watch.
Should. I'd like it. I'm not against...
Have him do the scene a bit. Have him sit in the crowd.
Yeah, I'm not against the
idea. And demand vegan cheeseburgers.
If this whole time this was just... I don't condone it because it doesn't really make sense in terms of wrestling. It obviously makes sense in terms of kayfabe.
Yep.
Doesn't make sense in terms of wrestling. Mm-hmm. But if this whole time it was never meant to be Kofi, and then he actually was meant to lose this gauntlet match, this is genuinely no, Kofi, you're not actually going to WrestleMania unless you join New Day and fight for the SmackDown tag belts. You're not having a one-on-one match. It's actually going to be someone else. I get it because the man just lost the gauntlet match today. In wrestling terms, we're sitting there going, oh, obviously he's going to WrestleMania, but in kayfabe he can't. Right, that should have been his last chance. But we know that's not true because he's going to come in next week and there's something's going to happen. But it's what's the point of that? What's the point of that if you knew Kofi was going to be in that match? I get it. You're really you're milking everything out of it.
Dragging it out.
But you don't need to. When it comes down to the exact same situation we have with the Triple Threat Women's match now for the Raw title. It's you knew the story 4 months ago. The story was sufficiently told after Fastlane. How well before after Rumble. The story was sufficiently told. It didn't need more layers to it. It just needed to re-emphasize the points it already made.
Yeah.
Right? Here's where we are, and here's how we got here, and then just put that over for the next 3 to 4 or 5 weeks. Right? It's not hard to do. Right? You didn't need to have Ronda go this massive bitch heel turn. You didn't need Charlotte to go around and be like, I'm this, and this. You didn't need Becky to get a leg injury to have to work her way back into the spot to do this now. Right? There was no need for Anne to get arrested. Now it's becoming this in the Kofi situation. Kofi didn't need to get screwed out of the gauntlet match. Next week, he's not going to need to fake fight, quit. That way he's like leveraging his position to be like, no, I'm going to quit if you don't put me into a WWE title match. I'm just assuming that's how the storyline's going to go.
Probably, yeah.
Right? You don't need to do that, right? You don't need to further emphasize the point of, I've been here for 11 years, give me what I want.
Yeah.
You don't have sound bites, do you?
No, I don't. Everyone knows he's the underdog.
Yeah, you've made that point. You don't need to keep emphasizing it with new gimmicks every single week, right? He should have just won the gauntlet match, which would have been, look, innovative, and that in itself is a problem. Had Kofi won, which he did, he won the gauntlet match, but had he had won the gauntlet match and then had gone on to face Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania, how am I meant to believe in kayfabe that this man, who has just beaten a 13-time world champion, the current United States champion, one of the greatest tag teams of all time in the bar, and
that's a bit of a okay.
5-time champions,
yeah,
like
okay,
they're up there
of the modern era.
Of the modern era.
Yeah, let's.
And who the fuck else? I can't remember the other one.
It was fucking. It was Rowan.
And Rowan,
a big fucking dude,
and a big dude,
real big.
He
dude.
beat 5 of them.
Yeah,
he beat 5 of them.
Well, I mean, one of them was a kayfabe, and one was a kayfabe, and three were roll ups.
Can you imagine if Roman Reigns had beat 5 guys in a night?
I don't have to imagine. I don't have to imagine it.
The fucking heat he would get.
Yeah, but Roman.
Can you believe they booked Roman Reigns to beat 5 wrestlers in a single night?
They would book
so
Roman. They would book Roman for. It would just be 5.
Why are we not looking at that? Why does Kofi get the benefit of the doubt?
So they would book Roman, and he would deliver 5 spears for 5 wins. Like I said, this was 3.
I get it. No, you're right.
3 roll-ups and 1 DQ. Only once did he hit his finisher and get a clean pin.
Fair.
Okay?
But still, I'm looking at that going, you've outlasted...
That's that underdog story.
No, you're right. But it doesn't discount the fact that he's beaten former world champion.
I know.
These people have earned their claim, right? In kayfabe, they're meant to be the upper echelon of talent, right? And he's gone ahead and beaten them. So it's like, I'm sitting there now, and he's going to take on Daniel Bryan, who isn't in the same caliber as Randy Orton, in my opinion, right? As a complete all-around...
From a booking standpoint, right now he is.
Yeah,
because they've gone back to emphasizing. They've gone back to emphasizing all of the bits of Daniel Bryan that they never really did in WWE. But he showed in Ring of Honor and on the Indies back when he was doing that. It's the crafty submission specialist. It is the guy who will work an opponent like one body part to pieces to the point where they can't stand or use that limb. That's the Daniel Bryan we've got now. And you go back and you watch. I think it was a triple threat match for the ROH title. Him, Christopher Daniels, and Samoa Joe. Or maybe it might have just been him and Samoa Joe. I can't remember. But it's one of those ones where it's like he should never, ever be in a situation where he can beat Samoa Joe. Too small, not big enough to take on a guy of that caliber. But he just works down a body part, one body part at a time. Just picks him apart. He's too quick. He's too sly. He's too fucking moves around the ring a lot better than Joe did. And this is like 2004 Joe. This is prime Joe.
Yeah.
And the way they work that story is he works, and that's what they're doing now. They're doing that with Bryan now. He hasn't really had a bigger opponent yet because his first opponent was AJ Styles, similar size. Kofi's a bit bigger, but he's not like...
The best example is when he versed Brock. It was like the week after he turned.
That was beautiful. That was such good storytelling.
No, I agree.
I agree. For a moment, I believed, man. I believed.
I argue you believe because Brock...
I believe
this is the thing with Brock kayfabe. This is the thing with Brock kayfabe.
Well, can we talk about Brock for a bit?
Oh, hell, Michael's not here. We can talk about Brock for the entire fucking show.
Well, let's not do that because we used to do that all the time. But, all right.
You know what? Funnily enough, I'm reading the run sheet that Michael's written here.
No Brock.
Not a single piece of Brock.
Well,
news.
I mean, he was a big part of Raw this week, kind of. He was on Raw, which is big.
Which is big for him,
big. But I'm liking He's looking lean.
Oh, dude, that was the first thing I fucking noticed.
Looking real lean.
I wish I could have started the show with it. Brock Lesnar looks fucking good.
He might be cutting for UFC.
Apparently, Dana's come out and said something on that. I haven't read the news.
He had a
what did he say?
An interview with what's her name? That Megan Levy or whatever.
Yeah,
the chick that does the backstage stuff for UFC, saying that like it's still on the cards. It's gonna happen at some point. Because
Dana White is the biggest wrestling mark of all time.
We are running out of time for DC because he said he's retiring at 40 and he's nearly 40.
Yeah.
So I 100% believe only because of that we're getting a Brock loss because he needs to go and properly train for DC. But there needs to be like one more really, really good promo for me to really buy into this story. But so far, I'm 100% behind Seth and Brock as the main event. Like,
100%.
I really wanted it to be Rousey, Becky, and Charlotte.
Shoot, it probably still will.
It still will be, and like I will
which is now a problem
not stiff that because the moment that those three walk out to the ring. And we get the Becky chance and we get the fuck you Ronda chance, which we're going to get.
It should always be prefaced this way. We're not. When I talk about this match, I'm not stiffing each one of these competitors. No. I know they're going to put on a fucking match.
Exactly.
Like, it's going to be main event worthy.
It is.
It's just that I have critiques of how they've handled the story thus far.
Yeah.
Because the story's told. You're just and you didn't need to tell any more of it.
It was told after Survivor Series.
Yeah.
The story was ready to go. But anyway, Brock and Seth. I'm really digging. I really think this could be something special because I think Brock likes Seth.
Dude, when Brock turns it on, this is why I don't understand.
I really think Brock likes Seth. I think he wants to do a really good job with him, just because, like you see, when he takes on guys like
Brock
Strowman,
wouldn't have taken that L at Mania all those years ago had it not been for Seth.
Yep, and I think he actually it's like you look at his matches with like Braun Strowman, Kane, Big Show, they're crap. They're not anything special. Just suplex, F5. It's over. Even it was disappointing that he sort of took that approach with Joe as well because that match had potential to be fucking awesome. But
think about the matches that he's had.
You look at D-Bry, you look at Finn Balor, you look at AJ Styles, and Seth fits into that category a lot more.
I know I didn't get to see it live, but I've seen bits of it, and I don't know if you've watched it. But can you tell me about that Brock Finn match? Was it nuts?
It's good. But it's short. It was shorter than the Daniel Bryan match, which disappointed me. I was hoping for like a good 15 minutes, and I think it might have only just hit 10.
Finn could have held him. It
found itself on like a spot on the card where it didn't have much time to breathe as a match. Like the Daniel Bryan match, I think was like 14 minutes. It was above that 12-minute mark, and like to go in that territory of like a good match to a great match, you need that few minutes after like the 12-minute mark where both have had a chance of offense, and then we get the false finishes and we get the real drawn out submission spot.
How long did Brock Daniel go for?
I want to say
about 12 minutes.
I want to say a bit longer than that, but like the AJ match was about the same length, and just the Finn one didn't have that much time to breathe, which was unfortunate because I think it could have been a really, really good match. It was a good match, but it wasn't up to the level of like the AJ match or the Daniel Bryan match, which was a shame. But the Seth, I feel, is gonna be because it's for their new big belt. You know, they're trying to put this in the forefront a bit over the legacy title. I feel they're going to give this like at least 17 minutes.
Oh yeah,
I think it's going to get to that 17, almost 20-minute mark. They might have to get the checkbook and just write Brock a number with a few zeros behind it. Just be like, can you just for like 5 more minutes, man? just last it a little bit longer.
I think like I stand for Brock for a lot of things. I think he will do right. I think you're right here.
I think he will. I just get the feeling that like the way they had the interaction. Like, have you watched the interaction on Raw?
Yeah.
This week? So he beats down Drew with the chair, charges the ring, no fear because he's probably got a chair in his hand, and then Brock just gets out. Just jumps out, smiles up at him. Seth smiles back. Then Brock leaves. Then we have obviously the bit at the end of the show where it comes out the distraction and cost Seth the match. But this doesn't feel like him and Roman a few years ago. It doesn't feel like him and Dean. It doesn't.
Why do you think that? What is it about it that just feels different?
It's just
because I agree with you. It feels really different than those ones without kind of being beat by beat extremely different. Because beat by beat, it still falls.
It's pretty similar. Brock shows up.
Yeah, Brock shows up.
He does the dance thing while Paul Heyman talks, looks big with the belt, but it's just...
And then stares and laughs at his opponent. Like, it's Brock beat by beat. But you're right. It feels really different.
There is a different vibe to it. There is a really different vibe to Brock. I just think he's I think he's got to the point where he's
because kayfabe's kicking in again. Now I'm try and think back to when last Mania.
I just think he's enjoying himself.
No, I agree. But I think he's evolved again.
Yeah,
kayfabe has evolved again. Right? We got to put ourselves in the shoes where we were exactly this time last year when we were talking about Roman Reigns going in to fight Brock Lesnar. How convinced we were. That this had to be it. Right? This is Roman's last chance to take on for the world title. Yeah. And then what happened? Right? Because it's Brock Lesnar.
I know.
This is why I love the man. Like, you get sucked in.
I know.
You get fucking sucked in. Whether you hate him or you love him like I do, you feel some kind of way about Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
So, bitches like Michael, like, I'm going to unsubscribe. Like, you're not. Like, you are so hooked on, you're more hooked on this storyline than I am. Like, it's at that point.
Yeah, I think this is going to steal the show. I'm just getting this.
I agree.
I'm just getting this.
You know what?
Fuck
it. I'm with you.
It's just going to be something really fucking special. And, like, we know Seth is capable of that.
We know Brock is...
I know. But I'm just saying, like, it...
Dude, when Brock turns on, he's the best wrestler in the history of the game, in my opinion.
I don't know about that.
My opinion. No one can make you believe. Like Brock does.
Taker in his prime.
Agreed. Okay, you know what?
Taker in his prime.
You're right.
You watched that video this week, didn't you?
Oh, I linked it to you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you did too. Yeah. So good.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, let's talk about it for a bit.
We're going to link it at the bottom of this.
Sniper Patchwolf?
Something like that. Yeah. He was the one who did...
He did the Why Wrestling is Fascinating video.
Yeah, which has gotten taken down.
No, it's still up.
Oh, I couldn't find it then. He also did the Golden Lovers one.
No, that's the same video.
Oh, is that okay? Yeah. Oh, yeah. He used Golden Lovers as the example.
As the example of the end of wrestling is fascinating. Yeah. Great video, and he's followed it up with this.
Long-term storytelling.
Long-term storytelling in wrestling.
So he broke down long-term storytelling, and he used Undertaker as the example.
Yeah. Which I feel he only did because... Have you seen Wrestling Isn't Wrestling? The Max Landis one?
Yeah.
Used Triple H as the example for that one, like long-term storytelling.
That was one I've also watched as well. I like that too. To me,
is... Like, Triple H's story, I think, is probably one of the best, like, long-term stories in wrestling.
Yeah.
Taker's is probably second best.
Yeah.
Just because of, like, they're evolving characters. But
Shoot. I think Brock Lesnar might actually end up... And, like, I'm trying my hardest to put bias aside.
Yeah, I know.
But I think Brock Lesnar, only if at the end of the day when it's all hung up, we just get some kind of WWE 24 or whatever where it's just like, I wasn't a cunt. I made you believe I was a cunt. Like, how nuts of a long-term book is that?
Whenever they do all of the...
Because you saw that thing on Reddit a couple of weeks ago, right? Brock Lesnar backstage with Undertaker just before Taker's Mania match. Pats him on the shoulder. He was just like, "Go out there and get it, dude." Like, then he's sitting there with Cena.
Was that against Bray Wyatt?
I think so.
Yeah, it was the year after the streak ended.
Yeah.
I remember saying that. That was
yeah. It's just like
that's the thing.
I know it's such a small bit, but he looks so wholesome and so.
And then just sitting there with Cena.
And then he's just sitting next to Cena,
so weird.
and they're watching, and he's watching another competitor wrestle.
Yeah.
Right, like a colleague.
Yeah.
In their world, and that was only for like 5 seconds. I'm like, you give me at the end of, and I get it because I think Brock Lesnar, much like Undertaker, like we knew the Undertaker gimmick was so protected because up until recently, no kayfabe. Nothing outside of kayfabe for Undertaker existed. Mark Calloway didn't really exist. He was barely. He never did interviews very often.
The only time he'd ever done like interviews and that was during the American Badass character.
Exactly. And then when he was Undertaker from that after that American Badass stint up until, I want to say a year after the streak ended, that was when, and it touched on in the video, like that was when his arc finished.
Yep.
No, after Roman. Let's go after Roman. After Roman had beaten him, that was the end of Undertaker. Right?
Yeah.
In terms of like, we now no longer need to protect him anymore because the Undertaker story is finished. He is now just a sporadic appearance, right?
Yeah.
As like, we get it, you're the Undertaker. Like, come back and do stuff for us. But his story finished then.
Yeah.
When Brock Lesnar's story finishes, if he starts doing the stuff out of kayfabe, which I like to believe it's all kayfabe right now, this Brock being this piece of shit guy who leverages his position for contracts and like he actually isn't a cunt, right? And I like to believe it can exist based solely on that 5-second snippet we had where he just interacted with Undertaker, was like, "Fuck yeah, dude, go and get it," right? Like, go and make some money, and then he sits down with Cena and watches the match.
Yeah,
like if we get a whole 24 series on that after Brock Lesnar retires, he will go down as one of the greatest long-term stories ever told.
Just imagine...
And one of the most well-protected gimmicks ever.
Just imagine a Brock Lesnar Hall of Fame speech.
Oh.
What's that going to be like? Because you know he's going in.
Oh, yeah.
He is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Whether he cares or not. And that's still up in the air. Like you said, this could all just be... This could all just be part of who he is and part of his act. But if he does get... And like, he cannot deny the fact that the reason he has the pedestal he has is because of pro wrestling. If he had have gone to football first, like right out of high school, or if he had gone
he knows this. And he knows this.
Yeah,
he owes a lot, and I think...
But he has come out and said if UFC existed to the level it did right now, he would have done that right out of college. Because
I believe that.
Because that is who he is. And I think deep down, he is someone who is a fighter. He is someone who is just... That is part of his nature. That is part of who he is. But at the time, the biggest platform available for that, even though it is WWE... It was what he wanted to do.
Yeah,
he just didn't like to travel. That's what he.
Brock wouldn't have come back. Brock wouldn't have come back if he didn't enjoy it.
And he's
right,
he is the kind of guy
because he was gone for 8 years.
He is the kind of guy like the paycheck is the paycheck, but you gotta have some sort of enjoyment to earn that paycheck. And I still feel like the stuff with like Heath Slater. Like I don't give a shit about your kids.
Yeah,
you just know that like whether Heath Slater talked to him or Paul, just to like we're gonna do this bit. I can see Brock being like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll swear on TV. Yeah. And I know I can get away with it, but it's going to be fun.
Him backstage just before he dropped to Roman, I think, where they were building up that story, and it was just Paul Heyman. Like, they built up that fake turn, right, where he turned on Heyman, right? And he was just backstage reading the newspaper.
Yeah.
Just, like, Brock, he enjoys the industry.
Yeah.
If it comes out and he firmly approves, like, the story that he is, like, no, I'm actually a cunt, I won't believe it, because I still believe firmly that he enjoys the industry, because you wouldn't do it if you didn't have a love for it.
Yeah.
All right?
He is, you're right, he's one of the most interesting characters we got, and it's just going to be...
And we're not going to know anything until he actually...
No, I know. But
that's the brilliance. But that's what we're saying.
Yeah, that's
when he hangs them up, and when his long-term story is finished, much like Undertaker's, and now we're starting to see the cracks and who Mark Calloway is, and like now he's talking about the industry. We're seeing it from his perspective.
Dead Man Talking. It's going to be a podcast.
I want that from Brock.
Yeah.
I want Brock to finish up and go, all right, I'm done. My story is finished. Right, which I think should be after this Mania, because there isn't much left of the Brock Lesnar story that should be told. The last part, he's in that Taker part now. So in that video, they talked about, all right, Undertaker's story has been split into like 2 parts, right? It was like the building of him as the dead man and getting that over, where it was like, okay, this guy, you believe it. Yeah. We know he's not dead, but you believe it enough by his character and and then they added layers to that. And then the next part of his story was the later stage, his third act, where it just became the streak. That was who his character was now. It was like every week in and week out, people would come up to him and challenge him and go, no, we want to take on The Undertaker because of the legacy. Yeah. Then he became a legacy pick. I think that's where we're at now with Brock Lesnar, when it's about slaying the beast. And that's the stories that they've been building since Roman, of the idea of who is going to take down Brock Lesnar. He's now at that streak-esque story.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and I think this ends with
in the
Seth
world of
Rollins.
wrestling, you beat the streak. You are imbibed with the powers of the streak.
It's true. It's so true.
When you get beaten,
aside
you
from Goldberg and until Roman.
Yeah.
No, Goldberg's best because he beat the streak. So Goldberg was 2 years ago?
WrestleMania. It wasn't WrestleMania.
What do you mean?
He's never been beaten at WrestleMania since the streak.
Brock,
no. He hasn't been beaten at WrestleMania.
Oh, no, I know that. But he hadn't taken a loss at all.
I know. And then
since the streak until Goldberg.
Yeah, I know.
And that was why it was fucking huge.
I know.
It was huge after the fact because not a lot of people realized he hadn't taken a loss since. And then after Goldberg... I think
it was a pretty, talked about part of the story. I remember it being sort of a forefront that no one has beaten him since he beat the streak, aside from obviously Seth. But that was a triple threat match, and he didn't get pinned.
That was the thing. He had never gotten pinned. He had taken losses, but they had never been in pins.
Yeah,
right. And then that was the shock.
And then
It wasn't the shock. The first initial shock was that it was a squash.
Yeah,
you couldn't believe Brock Lesnar just got fucking squashed.
That was
then it set in that, wait a minute, not only did he just get squashed, that's the first time he's lost since the streak.
Yeah.
Like, that's how insane of a run Brock Lesnar has had.
Yeah.
Right? But it was still... Then he beat Goldberg again, and then it became still again beat the Beast.
Yeah. Still undefeated.
Then Roman took it.
Still undefeated at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So you got to beat him at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And like that's
oh my
just
God,
like bringing it back around.
Has he ever? No.
Goldberg won at WrestleMania.
No. Okay, so yeah, did Goldberg win that? So he's lost twice at WrestleMania?
Yeah.
Goldberg and then Seth?
Well,
because that counts as a loss.
It does, but yeah. I don't know. I'd have to look it up, what his actual like WrestleMania record is. But yeah, I guess so.
In the new run of Brock Lesnar, so from 2012 onwards,
uh-huh.
has anyone ever beaten him more than once?
No. Because Cena beat him in his first match back.
Yeah.
Cena hasn't beaten him since.
Yep.
Taker technically beat him once at SummerSlam or the one after SummerSlam where he like tapped out.
Yep.
But that was an absolutely fucking shonky finish, so you don't really count that. Goldberg beat him once. Seth's technically beaten him once.
That's what I'm saying.
And
this is what I'm getting at.
Roman has beaten him once. Oh.
Something to think about.
Maybe.
Because
I know Roman has pinned him once. There may have been like a DQ finish at some point.
We'll go pins.
Pins.
Granted, actually no. Well, I'm going to go losses because if I were to go pins, it completely defeats my point. If Seth were to walk out and beat Brock Lesnar at this Mania, not only will he have conquered the Beast, but I think he'll be the only person to beat him twice.
Yeah.
Which I think won't get talked about, but that's huge.
I think it should be talked about.
I think it should be because that's huge.
Yeah. But that just kind of brings this like conversation to a close because we got to move on to something else. But I think it's just that there is this intangible about Brock Lesnar when it comes to the build to his matches, and you're kind of trying to work out like, is he going to care? Is he going to put in the effort? Does he like his opponent? And so far, what we've got with Seth, I don't know. Like I said, it's that intangible. You can't really put your finger on it, but I just feel like this is probably going to be the best Brock match we've had for a fair while.
Since Bryan.
He's only had like 2 matches since Bryan.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, that match was really good, but I think this can nearly...
This could be his best match since Streak.
I would rate the AJ match a little bit higher than the Daniel Bryan match.
Yeah, so do I.
Just a bit.
Because it was... I feel like...
It was
when the Bryan match kicked in, we knew it was going to be very akin to the AJ match.
It was the first in
the
first in a long line of just him versing other big men and just it being the same formula: suplex, F5 pin. This was like we had submission holds. We had that spot where Brock bounced AJ's head off the fucking mat, which I love to death, like a basketball, just douche, douche, douche. And yeah, it was a very different Brock Lesnar match. We hadn't seen one. Like, my favorite Brock Lesnar match since he came back is still the Extreme Rules against Cena, his first match back.
Yeah, fair.
Because it was still
I just can't believe he took an L in that first match.
I know.
Match.
It was
like,
as
you're
much...
shocked by that.
It was as much Brock Lesnar as we had before he left, but it was the addition of the MMA elements to his character with, like, the opening 15 seconds, him busting Cena's head the fuck open. And it's like, Brock, do you not remember where you are right now? Not UFC, dude. Dude, this is wrestling. Chill. But it added this just amazingly
that was the beginning of New Kayfabe.
Exactly. It was this amazing legitimacy to the character, even though we knew that, he's back in wrestling. This isn't UFC. He's still not pulling that many punches, and Brock Lesnar never really does, but just ask Braun Strowman. But it was like, okay, this is the Brock Lesnar we're getting now. And like we've seen that with Randy, we've seen it with Roman, where he will either whether it's agreed upon beforehand or whether he takes liberties in the ring, he's not afraid to show the crowd who he actually is. Which I think it's good and bad. I'm still not a fan of the Randy bust open spot.
Are you not a fan of it from the perspective that you just didn't like?
It was just unnecessary.
But it was so gruesome.
It was.
Like, gruesome in a good way.
It was gruesome, but I don't watch wrestling for that.
No, you're right.
You know what I mean? Like, I think I said this at the time. I think when me and Michael did the podcast for it, it was like, if I want to see that, I will happily watch UFC. I love UFC for what it is, and it is competitive combatants going at it in a legitimate fight. I don't watch WWE for that. The Cena spot was still pretty brutal, but it wasn't literally a pool of blood that formed under Randy's head. Like there is a difference there. I feel where I think at that point
it's got to be one of the best shoot moments in wrestling.
Yeah, it made impact. It made an impact, and that's what people are going to remember Brock for, is him making an impact. So
what is the best shoot moment in wrestling?
Oh, the screw job.
Yeah, fair enough.
Screw job. 100%.
I was thinking the screw job.
It's either that or the pipe bomb. Those are the two moments that that shook wrestling in a way that hasn't been shaken before. And I suppose you could put the steroid trial up there with that as well, but that was out of the realm of wrestling as it exists within an arena on any given night. But the pipe bomb, the thing is, I wasn't watching wrestling when the pipe bomb happened.
Dude, I'm in the exact same situation.
But
I was
all of a sudden, I just start
distant,
seeing wrestling popping back into my newsfeed and popping back into my life around the pipe
brought
bomb.
me back.
It did.
It brought me back full time to wrestling.
I watched that Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and I was just fucking floored by how good CM Punk was. And that still it might be my favorite pop of all time, him coming out.
Oh, it is mine.
I think
we've discussed it so
in Chicago,
many times.
And the crowd just fucking loses their mind. It is just something that you can't manufacture that. That is 100% organic. But yeah, I think that and the screw job are two things that people look at as these hallmark moments in wrestling where it's just that blurred the lines between. I think he was talking about that in long-term storytelling as well, or in Super Eye Patch Wolf, whatever we'll link it below. Like I said. But in the why wrestling is fascinating, it's when the world of kayfabe and the real world start to get closer and closer and start to merge. That is when wrestling is at its most fascinating, and that is when it's what are we seeing on our TVs that's real, and what are we seeing that's all, and Brock Lesnar is a person that just embodies that 24/7. Yeah, but like I said, I'm just getting this weird feeling about this build with Seth, where it's not that different to any other build, but there's just something there.
You can't explain it, because I'm exactly with you. I can't explain it.
But I just feel like this is going to be something that we haven't seen before from Brock. It's going to be just. I think Seth's just going to get the best out of it.
I reckon he goes, a la Randy Orton, goes for the curb stomp, throws him up, catches F5.
Fuck. Oh! I'm getting moist just thinking about that spot. That spot would be fucking sick.
What the fuck? If they don't do that.
You know what?
If that were to be the end of the match and Brock wins, I'd be 100% okay with it.
You know what? I think just a little bit of me wants to believe that Brock has thought about this and is maybe considering it. Bring back the shooting star press.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ, he's 42.
I know, but he's still Brock Lesnar.
Mate.
And he's...
Oh, if he goes up to the top rope, even if he doesn't do it, but just teases it.
I know. That's all I'm saying.
We don't actually do it, Brock.
We don't have to get one.
Just tease it.
But it would be a good spot for him to go up to the top, and then Seth does that pop-up bit where he just jumps to the top rope. We get the superplex into the Falcon Arrow.
Yeah.
We know Brock's on the top, what the fuck's he thinking? He can't be doing this. You nearly died last time.
Jesus Christ. Brock hasn't taken a bump like that since he came back.
No.
What the fuck?
Well, he took one in the Cena match, the Extreme Rules match. Cena wrapped because he brought back the chain gang.
Yeah.
He wrapped the chain around his hand and actually punched Brock in the face.
No, but I'm talking about Brock hasn't taken a bump from distance.
Like a self bump.
He hasn't gone to the top rope and taken a fucking bump from that.
No, you're right.
Is what I'm saying. Think of the bumps Brock has taken.
Not many.
They've just been basic flat back standing ones.
Either that or through announce tables. He's done
the odd announce table.
He's
bump.
gone through announce tables a couple of times. But apart from that,
but he hasn't taken a bump from height.
No big bumps. No, you're right. Anyway. Welcome to Brockcast, where we talk about Brock Lesnar.
Oh, dude, honestly, I would honestly start.
I know. We used to do this all the time, though. We get stuck on Brock, and then
Michael isn't here. I want to enjoy it.
I know. Is there anything else from this week?
If anything, I wanted to.
Okay. I have New Japan stuff. All right.
That's not in here right now. We're still discussing WWE stuff.
Too fucking bad, because everyone needs to go out and watch and appreciate and love New Japan Cup right now, because it's fucking awesome.
You're a fucking mark.
Zack Sabre Jr. versus Kota Ibushi. Kota Ibushi versus Naito. Just basically Kota Ibushi because he's amazing. But if you haven't seen it, and spoilers, Zack Sabre Jr. tapped out Ibushi. He was my guy. I had him going the entire way. Zack Sabre Jr. tapped
Ospreay
out
has
Kota Ibushi.
Okada?
Ospreay and Okada. I think it's tonight or tomorrow night.
That's nuts.
Dude, that's Like they have had
That's nuts.
one match before, and it was awesome. This time there was a.
Do you reckon Ospreay goes up and challenges Jay White? I reckon Ospreay goes the whole way.
It would be interesting because it's a junior. He's still technically a junior, going for the heavyweight title. I don't think New Japan.
I don't think no matter who wins this beats Jay. We discussed it last week.
I think Jay still wins. I think Jay retains the title at Supercard.
It's just how you get because it's an American market.
But right now we have a lot of people out that would usually be in this position, or like would be in be still in the thing. So we have Kota Ibushi out, Naito out. There's only real from the main event.
Okada's just about to go out because I'm convinced he's going to lose.
That's the thing from the main
Ospreay.
From the main event scene, we've only really got Okada as a big heavyweight contender still left. Like Colt Cabana is still in this thing. Oh yeah, which is great. He had a match with Yano, who was the Japanese version of Colt Cabana, and it was pretty funny. I kind of enjoyed it. There were some good spots. It wasn't the best comedy match that they ever have put on, but it was just fun to see these two guys who have sort of built this comedy career. What are you pointing at?
Heartifact Network business cards over there.
Nice. Heartifact Network. I can't remember what I said at the start of this episode, but there'll be a stinger.
Oh, there are the stingers now. Yeah.
No, I know. I can't remember what this one was. Anyway, it's building towards something really, really cool. I'm going to be watching Supercard of Honor. Do you want to come over and watch it?
When's that?
It'll be the Sunday before WrestleMania because that's why they
Sunday before or Sunday of?
Sunday of.
That weekend?
Yes.
Oh, dude, it's big.
It's the day
because that's TakeOver as well.
No. They moved TakeOver.
Oh, TakeOver's Saturday because they knew. Yeah.
They knew.
So
Madison Square Garden now has Supercard. Like, dude, this is a Madison Square Garden show that isn't WWE.
Yeah, that's the big.
And the card is pretty stacked. And our boy, World Series Wrestling's own Brody King, and PCO are now your Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. They beat the Briscoes.
Yes.
So that's going to be...
Dude, Brody King. Ooh.
Yep. So that's going to be him and PCO versus, I think it was going to be the heavyweight New Japan champions, tag champions for the lot. It's a fucking winner-take-all situation.
Shoot, give it to Brody.
Give it to Brody.
Dude, the dude's on a fucking run.
Dude, Brody King and PCO in New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm all about that. Oh, you got the old grizzled motherfucker and the young upstart fucking... guy who moves.
Aren't they just Villain Enterprises? Isn't that not their stable name? Because PCO's...
Is PCO part of...
Yeah, he's part of Villain.
Because I would have thought they would have had Marty. Oh, no, Marty's got a singles match at the Super Show. So, that'd be interesting. That card's coming together pretty well.
Marty's in the heavyweight match, isn't he?
I think so, yeah.
For the big belt?
Might be. Because it's going to be one of his...
triple threat.
If he is going to AEW, it's going to be one of his last matches.
If you're Marty...
His contract's up in April sometime.
If you're Marty... Are you joining your mates over at AEW?
I feel like the answer is unequivocally yes.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just...
Doesn't make much sense not to do it.
He would do so well.
Just being...
WWE.
Just...
Because I've said it so many times before, Marty to me is the one who can break free of the elite boys and showcase on a higher level outside from them. Because when he's among the elite guys, he obviously takes a backseat to Cody. He obviously takes a backseat to Omega.
Yeah.
And I think he either takes a backseat to the Bucks or he's on par with them. But I would say he takes a backseat to the Bucks.
Unless they establish a junior division in AEW, then you're right. I don't see where he fits in.
Yeah. I get it. They're your mates. But at the same time,
the thing, they still haven't really signed...
He can be a star in WWE.
They really haven't signed that many people who aren't their mates. So I'm like, are they going to be initially working with other companies to bring in people to be the antagonists to the people they've already got? Because right now, it's going to be really hard to build matches around the fact that all these guys were on the Jericho cruise together and have started the company together. And they're aside from the Kenny Omega and Jericho feud, which is an existing feud, none of these matches really have any sort of weight behind them. Obviously, they've got Puck, which is good, and they got him against one of their boys in Hangman Page. But aside from that, they're not really giving us any reason to be invested. Now, having them pick up the AAA titles this week in Mexico is a good way to go about bringing in a AAA tag team at Double or Nothing to have them go for that belt. Not a bad idea. So I think they're going to be relying a lot on other promotions initially to bring in opponents for all these guys because, yeah, you're right, they are all mates. So how do you build feuds around that? It's it's
I think
kind
it's
of
always going to be the fundamental problem with AEW. Let's stop talking about them.
yeah. All right, so I just want to update on the G1 Supercard. So we got Jay White versus the New Japan Cup winner. Gorillas of Destiny, so Tama Tonga and Tongaloa versus Villain Enterprise. It has been changed. PCO and Brody King.
I fucking told you.
Winner take all. IWGP and Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. Taiji Ishimori, this is the match I'm looking forward to most. Taiji Ishimori, Dragon Lee, and Bandito. Bandito is fucking awesome.
Yep.
In a three-way match for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Championship. They got a Rumble, so that'll be where everyone else goes. And yeah, it is right. Yeah, Jay Lethal versus Marty Skull and Matt Taven in a ladder match for the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship. I'm looking forward to that.
Marty put a post up on Insta, and he was just like, it was a promo for that match. He just goes, like, shoot, guys, how do you take a ladder bump? I'm like, good moment.
I just saw something here. Will Ospreay's already got a match booked on this card.
Does he do double duty?
He's versing Jeff Cobb.
Oh, Jeff Cobb's a good moment.
For the Ring of Honor TV title and the Never Open Weight.
Oh, do you reckon that spoils it?
Once again, winner take all.
Yeah.
Winner take all.
Fuck,
Will Ospreay could be walking away with a lot of gold that night.
No, but I feel like that just leads a spoiler now because I don't see Ospreay doing double duty on that big card.
Because that
card is meant to be for like everyone.
I still think it's going to be Okada.
Yeah.
Okada Jay White, that's a good match though.
Dude, in that video from Sniper, whatever his name is, he at the end of it he talked about like obviously Undertaker's one of the most renowned stories we know, but another one that's taking fold right now is the fall of Okada.
And then the rise.
Yeah.
Because he's starting to come back. Because all New Japan Cup, he's been wearing the shorts, not the big long pants.
Did I not say this? When I'm pretty sure I said it, but the first time I ever saw him wore the pants, and I was just like, oh, pants Okada. It's different. There's different pants Okada.
Yeah.
And he started taking losses.
Yeah.
And it was at the tail end of his run. And I'm just like...
And then he comes back.
And I'm pretty sure when he came out and dropped it, he was wearing the pants. He
was wearing the pants. And then
I said it too. I'm just like, he's not wearing the shorts? Like,
no. Wrestle Kingdom, he bought the shorts back. Yeah.
And then he won.
He won. He did.
Shorts are carded, dude.
We got Bully Ray versus somebody in a New York street fight.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then Rush v Dalton Castle in a singles match. That will be a fucking good match as well. So it's taken shape as a really, really good match. Good card.
Michael has a local news section. I like this run sheet.
All right.
I like this run sheet.
We'll finish off with some local news and then we'll get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Well, we'll just wrap it all up. Michael's written Adam Brooks is to finish up his dates in Australia before heading back over the States for a few months.
Brooksy! Where's he going in the States? I know he does a bit of work with...
He's doing WrestleCon is what Michael
doing WrestleCon?
said, I think.
Of course,
yeah. Him and the Eagles are doing something.
Yes. Have you seen Robbie Eagle's Bullet Club shirt?
Yes.
It is. I'm getting one.
Man is
merch. It is beautiful.
It
is beautiful.
MCW Clash of Titans this past weekend.
It was Slex.
Huge.
Slex
has defeated Gino Gambino to become the MCW heavyweight, whilst also retaining the Intercommonwealth title. So he's a double champ.
Dual champ.
Ledge.
All right, I'll ask you this, right? I know, like, we've had a lot of Aussie guys starting to get a bit of interest overseas. We've got PWG, got a bit of representation there. NXT, Jonah Rock just went over there. What's holding Slex back? I got to know.
I don't. And this is
He's got the look. He's got the body. He's got the in-ring acumen.
There's just not enough character.
You just want a little bit more?
Yeah.
A little bit more?
I get it. You're the business.
He's the business. He's got the sunglasses.
What the fuck does that mean?
I know.
That's like, I mean, it's no stiff, because I've watched the guy, I'm a huge fan.
Yep.
Right? You're right. He has the look, got the body for it. But I think I think that also plays against it in a certain way.
It could be. He's like a carbon copy of a lot of guys.
Exactly. That's what I was going to go at.
He does look like an EC3.
If you look like a wrestler, but if everyone else looks like a wrestler, then no one are wrestlers.
That's why I think they looked at Jonah Rock and said, that guy looks interesting.
That's the thing. And that's what they're hiring.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's the pattern.
Yeah.
When you really look at the landscape of WWE, and then you think about, okay, the body that someone of the early 2000s would have had, right? So the Chris Masters, the John Cenas, those ones, right? Slex is that.
Yeah.
Today, how many exist like that? Randy?
There's only a handful left.
Sheamus?
But I mean, one of the biggest...
I can't think of anyone.
One of the biggest examples right now is Brian Cage. And he's killing it.
Yeah. Brian, and I'm pretty I've said this as well. Why isn't I asked, I'm like, why isn't Brian Cage been signed with WWE? And then that's where I've come to the conclusion. It's like, it's because he looks so obvious.
Yeah. But he's found his niche.
Is why they're not doing
outside of WWE, where he can He can go to Lucha Underground and do the Lucha stuff because he's a guy that is
he's
and moves like that.
Extremely talented.
He's unreal.
Right?
Then he goes to like Impact and he's the machine. He's the big brawler. Like he can move around to these other companies and he has his own identity at each of these. Like when he comes out to Australia, he is the World Series wrestling version of Brian Cage. And we love him for that. And he's great. And I saw because I didn't get to go, I saw the picture of him with like the half Terminator armor coming out.
He's the machine.
Looks sick
right?
as, yeah, like he's great. But he's carving out a niche where he is one of those guys that I feel like he might have a run, but he doesn't necessarily need to. And I would not be surprised.
I just don't think
it wouldn't take long for him to pop up in AEW. I think he's. I think he's the kind of guy that's like he's going to let it sort of start and then see how it goes.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
And then he might jump across.
A lot of people are doing that.
Yeah, like Flip Gordon's another one where it's like. You would have thought he would have been the first banker signings just because of his work with being the elite, and he's obviously friends with these guys.
Yeah.
But obviously the story is that nobody likes him.
There's a lot. I think you're looking at guys like,
and he was such a big part of. He's such a big part of All In. He was such a big part of All In. So I think he's another guy that might. It could be his Ring of Honor contract as well. Could be preventing him from doing anything. But he feels like one of those guys that may just be like sitting back, going, "All right, let's see how this goes the first couple of pay-per-views, and then when my contract's up, I'll talk to you guys and see what my options are, whether I can move across." Because if it is going to be a legitimate alternative, if it is going to be successful, then guys like Brian Cage, like Flip Gordon, like Slex, if they want to go to America and make it big, they don't have to go to WWE.
Oh, no shit.
They don't have to go to NXT.
That's why it's like there's nothing against the promotion existing.
Yeah.
It just doesn't exist in the same realm as WWE. That's my problem with it. Don't talk about it in that regard.
No, I know.
It hasn't even fucking started yet.
It's a T-shirt company.
Yeah, like...
Let's just wait and see. They are doing stuff, though, which is like going to go into AAA and doing like work with them.
Yeah.
And they're promoting...
I like that it exists. I'm not against it existing. Yeah. And it'll exist well, right? But I think its ceiling is Ring of Honor. Like peak impact, whenever that was. You want to say that was
2003.
I was going to say like 2008.
No, 2008. No, because that was like the tail end of peak impact. We're talking about impact, and Michael isn't here. Fuck!
Stop!
Shit!
Stop!
What's happened? No.
PCW was also this past weekend.
Yep.
Big story from that. PCW was on the same night as MCW.
Interesting.
MCW was well more promoted, well more marketed. I'm pretty sure it had more sales.
Yeah.
But PCW managed to do over 2,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck.
On the same night, the MCW had their pay-per-view as well. That's big.
What was on their card? Do you know?
Because
I knew the MCW card.
Yeah, you knew the MCW card.
I had no idea who was wrestling for PCW that night.
All I know is that Sid Parker and I think Erica Reed became tag champs. I think. Okay. But aside from that, it was a lot of homegrown talent.
Well, they're in-house boys.
In-house boys.
Interesting.
Don't think they had many of the bigger indie guys in Australia.
You got Sid Parker. That's always
Sid Parker's huge.
That's a big deal.
But aside from that, they did 2,000 on the same night that MCW had their big Clash of the Titans. And it was big. It was a big promoted one.
PCW operate out of Ferntree Gully?
Yeah.
And
they hosted this one at the State Netball Centre in Montana.
Okay. It could just be like a...
2,000.
It's pretty good.
Good on
them. Good on them.
That's it for local news.
Local news, yeah.
This weekend we got the big APW Boiling Point.
Yep.
Should be fun. Brooksy's on the card.
Brooksy.
So we got Brooksy versus Xavier Black. The Big F and Rig signed on to fight Crash.
Nice.
We got Michael Weaver versus Zane Zodiac. Zane Zodiac is APW homegrown boy.
He's a boy.
And APW champion Technico is to take on Adam Miller.
Okay.
So, good moment.
Good card.
Yeah, not a bad card. APW on the ups.
Get your tickets.
Yeah.
Wherever you get them. I don't know where you get them.
Based out of Cranbourne. So, good stuff.
Yeah.
We can end it there.
You know them well.
And I'm okay with them.
There you go. Anyway, I think that's about it. Anything else? Anything else you can think of?
Let me have a look at the run sheet.
Wrestling.
He wants us to do the Give Me What I Want thing, but we haven't got the fucking stinger for that.
No, I was supposed to grab it off the computer, but I didn't. So, life sucks. That's fine. Give me what I want. Just want to do it.
Okay.
I can do it without that.
Yeah, right.
Hang on. I can maybe get on my phone. You pad for like 2 minutes. Or a minute. Nah, fuck, I can't be bothered.
Yeah, not guy, mate.
Just all right, what do you want? Give me something that you want. What do you want? What are you doing?
Second snap of the mic.
Fair enough.
I just want to know who Finn Balor is going to verse at WrestleMania.
Undertaker.
Well, I want it confirmed. We have 2 weeks left.
I know. Can you imagine though? This could be the first Mania in a good, I would say, 15 to 16 years. If there's no,
we discussed this last week.
No Taker and no Cena.
Yeah. What the fuck?
That would be weird.
Trust Triple H to still be on the card though.
I cannot. I'm not going to put up with anyone stiffing Triple H at this point.
I'm not.
No, I know.
I'm just saying.
I know.
Trust Triple H to be on the card.
I know, but like at this point, like everyone's like, oh, he's fucking got the shovel out. He's burying again. His WrestleMania record is 6-11.
Yeah, look, I agree.
It is a trash fucking record. Like the problem is the matches that he did win were matches that he shouldn't have. So like against Booker T, probably shouldn't have won that match. But like for the most part, he has just done his best to put people over at WrestleMania. Granted, 3 of those losses came at the hands of The Undertaker, so he was never going to win those, but...
Oh, you say that, mate. You say he was never going to win those, but then that fucking Hell in a Cell match, dude, I still watch back, and I know the finish, but god damn it.
Caught up.
Do I still get fucking worked on that?
Yeah, well,
do I still get worked on that?
That is to the sign of the character work in that was so fucking good.
Oh, dude.
Just the best. One of the best matches of all time.
The best match, in my opinion. I might have it at number 1.
Take a Shawn 25. Take a Shawn 25. It is without the retirement angle. Without the retirement angle, it's just the angle is these are 2 of the best of all time, and Shawn wants the legacy, and that's all the story needed to be. Once again, simple fucking storytelling, and you have one of the greatest matches of all time.
Yeah.
And yet we have 2 real convoluted stories happening right now, and it's weird.
Doesn't need to be so convoluted.
No, it doesn't. Just make it simple.
All right.
Simplify. Anyway, I want I just want to know I just want to know the card. I just want to know the card. That's it. Right now, we are 2 weeks away from WrestleMania. 2 episodes of Raw and SmackDown. So we're a bit over 2 weeks. I just want to know. All I want is the card. At this point, we should know the card. At this point, we should have the card. At this point, we should be getting ready to do our predictions. And I should be prepping the house for everyone to come over on WrestleMania Day.
Yeah, fucking hype, dude.
Yeah. I've still got to work out exactly what we're doing, but it's going to be fun. But all I want is the WrestleMania card finalized because we're 2 weeks out and it should have been finalized by now. So that's what I want. Give me what I want. Give me what I want. Yeah, tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I wanna really, really, really want to zig-a-zig-eye. What the fuck do they say there?
All right, let's end it there.
All right, let's done. You can follow me everywhere at Ricki Needs at RICKINEEDS, Twitter, Instagram, and the YouTubes. David.
Yeah, follow me on Instagram _ the Halfcast Prince.
And you can follow the podcast everywhere at Australia Mania Pod. That's STRAYAMANIAPOD. Twitter and Instagram. Australia Mania Podcast is the YouTubes and the Facebooks.
Lit.
Also, we've got a new logo, and it looks pretty cool. You're welcome.
We're done.
All right. See ya.
This podcast is part of the Heartifact Podcast Network. For more of this and our other podcasts, head to heartifactstudios.com.au.